Hello friends! Today I want to share how I make my vegan apple pie with a walnut crust. This recipe is a family favorite. I posted that I made some pies for Thanksgiving on my Instagram page, and many of you asked me to share some of my recipes. So I'll walk you through making this pie, but the link to the recipe is in the description. So we'll start with the crust. And for this you'll need flour, finely chopped walnuts, vegan butter, or you can substitute coconut oil, white sugar, salt. You can use an egg replacer or an arrowroot powder, ground cinnamon, and water. Now we're going to mix all the dry ingredients together except for the walnuts in a bowl. At this point you'll want to pull out your food processor. I use a Vitamix, you can use a blender, and you're going to put all of the dry ingredients that you mixed in the bowl into the food processor and then add in the butter, you're going to add in the water, and then the walnuts. And you want to pulse it. You don't want to absolutely pulverize it and make it smooth, but we're looking for a good texture for your pie dough. Since this is a hybrid flour nut crust, you can either roll out the dough into a disc to put into your pie pan, or you can just form it directly into the pan or plate. That's what I prefer to do. Now we need to let the gluten settle in the dough to allow that crust to be flaky. Now there's two different ways of doing that. If you're using a glass or a Pyrex plate like I do, then you can just set it out on the counter for an hour at room temperature. If you're using a metal pan, then you can go ahead and put it in the refrigerator for half an hour to cut down the time. While the crust is resting, you can preheat the oven to 400 degrees and then go ahead and bake it for 20 minutes until the crust is lightly golden. Now what I do while the crust is baking is I go ahead and start on the filling for the pie. For this you'll need 8 peeled, cored, and sliced apples. I like to use Honeycrisp apples, but any pie apples will do. I also use a spiralizer. Now I find that this is a lot easier than peeling, coring, and slicing all the apples. Now this is an optional step, but I absolutely love cinnamon, so I like to dust my apple slices with cinnamon before even moving on to the rest of the pie filling. So now at this point the crust should be done baking, and you can start arranging your apples in the crust, making sure to make a mound of apples that extends above the height of the crust, because as the apples bake, they will bake down. Now it's time to cook the liquid part of the apple pie filling, and for this you'll need butter, flour, brown sugar, white sugar, water, and vanilla. You'll want to mix all these ingredients in a saucepan and then cook them over the stove until boiling. At that point, you'll want to reduce the temperature and let it simmer until it thickens. Once the liquid has reached a good consistency, then you can go ahead and take it off the stove and pour it over your apples. Now as you pour the mixture over the apples, make sure to cover all of the apples and all of the area inside of the crust. Now this is also optional, but some people like to put a lattice work over their apple pie. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. It depends on how much time I have when I'm making the pie. Now you can take the remaining pie crust and roll it out and cut it into thin or thick strips to make the lattice work decoration on top of your pie. With your oven preheated to 425, go ahead and put your pie in. You'll want to bake it for 15 minutes and then reduce the temperature to 350 for about 35 to 45 minutes until the apples are soft, and you want to make sure that the lattice work doesn't get too crispy. And then let your pie cool before serving. I hope you'll enjoy our family's vegan apple pie with walnut crust. I will link the recipe in the description below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, be well.